We have just shipped a new feature called custom attributes for our Stellate GraphQL metrics. What you see here is the typical metrics dashboard for a Stellate service. And this already gives you a lot of valuable insights into what is actually going on with your GraphQL API. For example, I see the number of requests that are going through my API, how fast they are, if I have any errors, and which operations are being sent. But up until now, this has always been like the same data points for any kind of GraphQL API. There was nothing specific to your API or to your business logic. But with custom attributes, this can change now. Down here, we can see a new section called custom attributes. And what we're basically doing here is we are specifying custom data points that Stellate will track for all your requests and will make them available to you for use in the GraphQL metrics. In this example, we have two custom attributes set up. One is the user ID and the other one is a tenant ID. We can also open the page for custom attributes, which gives you an overview over all the attributes that you have, just a bit bigger compared to the small card on the previous page. And now we can also drill into a specific custom attribute. Take the tenant ID, for example. And then I see the top 3 tenants, which in this case send the most requests to my service. And I also see a long list of all the available tenants that have been seen so far. And if I want to get more details, I can just click on this card or on any of these rows to open up a detail view that gives me even more insights. So I get a chart here that shows me the requests over time. I see my cache hit rate. I see if there are any errors. I also see a list of queries that were sent from this tenant and a list of mutations and a list of types that have been used. A cool thing about all of these detailed information is if you want even more details, all of these are cross-linked with our existing metrics pages. So if I click on errors here, I immediately get redirected to the errors page. And you see in the top, we already automatically apply a filter for the custom attribute and the value that you want to look at. So in this case, we can now take a look at the long list of errors for the specific tenant that we're interested in. You can also use the custom attribute filter here on the top, in fact, to filter any of the metrics pages. So for example, if I'm really interested in a very specific user, I could now apply a filter for this user. I see in this case, he didn't have any errors. And in fact, in the last 15 minutes, he didn't send any requests as well. If I remove this, I see my metrics overview specifically for the North America tenant. So how can you set this up? If we head over to the config, you can see that it's quite easy. In fact, it's just a new property in our Stellate config. In this example here, you see the tenant ID. And what we're doing here is we're saying, hey, this is a header that we sent with all the requests that already run through our GraphQL API. So please just pick the value of this header and store it in the database. The same basically for the user ID. We're taking the value of the authorization header. And in addition to that, we know that this one is in fact a JWT. So we instruct Stellate to please validate the JWT given the algorithm and the secret specified here and pick out the user ID claim from its payload to store in the database. That's all there is to custom attributes. We hope that this will give you way more insights into what is actually relevant for you in your GraphQL API to use with the Stellate GraphQL metrics.